of these different machines come from one particular group of entities?
Yeah, they think maybe it's more than one answer. The craft look different, the beings look different, the reports you get from all over the world over the decades. We don't really know for sure what they do look like because they seem to be able to change their shapes, at least change how we perceive them in our head.
All I know for sure is UFOs are real. We have technology that we don't know where it's from. We have been reverse engineering or trying to do that. I am solid on those three things.
Has anyone come to you and described the different kinds of beings and how many they think there are?
There was a chapter in a textbook being used at the U.S. Air Force Academy. This is what they were teaching our best and brightest pilots at the Air Force Academy. And that chapter said, in the course of your career as an aviator, you're likely going to encounter one of these things. Here's what we know about them. We know that there are 4 different alien races visiting this planet, and they've been here for thousands of years.
Why the fuck does an alien need a fingering yet? Somehow they're connected.
I can't believe some bitches did that.
This guy was on my podcast, Travis Walton. They saw him get hit with some sort of a beam. They saw a craft land. They were loggers. This guy jumps out. He's a crazy logger dude. Jumps out. What the fuck is it? Goes running towards it, and he gets hit with his beam. He falls down. They drive off. They get like half a mile down the road, and they're screaming at each other, we got to go back, we got to go back. So they turn around and go back. They go back to the spot, and he's gone. 5 days later, the guy shows up with this crazy story. He said he got abducted by that craft, and they fixed him. They said his body was broken from the beam, and they took him aboard, and he had these encounters. And there was a movie called Fire in the Sky.
Shit, what's a beam in the first place?
What about the idea that human beings are a product of accelerated evolution? That's the most fascinating UFO theory.
Accelerated evolution from what to what?
That we are the product of the mixing of genes of some sort of an alien race and lower primates.
Well, it's always great to think that we're somehow noble and somehow beyond the other animals and that we're great. But the proof is in the pudding. If there's looking at our DNA, we realize that the DNA difference between us and a chimpanzee was A, the expansion of the brain, B, the dexterity of the fingers, and the vocal cords. So these are the 3 things that really stand out when you look at chimp genes and then human genes. And then you realize that, well, that's why we became intelligent. We can vocalize, we can share knowledge from generation to generation. We have an opposable thumb with fingers, much more delicate than the fingers of a monkey. And we have eyes that are stereo so that we can judge distance to the prey. So looking at it genetically, we realize that only 3 clusters of genes created us. So it's hard to believe that mating with an alien could have done that.
Well, I'm not saying mating. There's a lot of really wild stuff. If you read like Zecharia Sitchin's work, he was a scholar in ancient languages that translated the Sumerian text. And he believed that the Sumerian text was all telling the story about how humans were a product of accelerated evolution.
Well, it's possible, but again, it requires one more step of substantiation.
How the connection between aliens and the Nazis took place. When did all this start?
Well, let me begin. This is really, I'm telling you, Joe, this is a real deal.
I believe you.
You ask, who are they? It's people who are psychically, genetically available to interface in this incredibly diverse universe with all these dimensions above and below and all around us with consciousnesses. And the truth is, no energy is ever destroyed. It all continues on. The truth is, our bodies, this is a fact, are a communal hive organism of all of our ancestors and all of their race memories, but not in just some compressed epigenetic system. It's beyond that. It's an electrochemical antenna, they've proven this, that connects to higher and lower dimensions. So our bodysuit, because our predecessors wouldn't put us in a position without giving us a bodysuit that is them. Our families are loving us. They're holding us. They're wrapped all around us. Their strength, their will, their bad, their good, their sins, the good things they did, the battles they won, the battles they lost, the woman they loved, the man they loved. It's all in us, all these people. It's why we're able to look into so many things and have so many different experiences. And so all the shaman, all the ancient religions, everybody says there are the good ones and there are the bad ones, and people are interfacing. So you say, where does it begin? from the Tibetans to the Mesoamericans to the Egyptians to the Druids to every ancient society describes the same thing. There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are, and there are good things, but they don't contact you unless you contact them, and then they're almost not even concerned with what you're doing. I never bought into this, looked into it. But then I began to think about, what did I hear when I was a kid? What did I see? What was coming out in government documents? What was being admitted? When I read all these books about World War II and the Nazis and Hitler obsessed with the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans and what they were able to do without drugs to interface with this, and all the rituals they would do, and how they would believe that beyond the ether, like at Skull and Bones, it's a German death cult, they do rituals and take drugs to talk to the goddesses. Well, they're just appearing as, sexy, beautiful women. It's whatever you want as these spirit guides, because lower entities will come in and violate your free will. God and his angels, which are below him, will not get involved in your everyday life. They will not manipulate your free will unless you ask them in. But then the devil masquerades as an angel of light. So we're on this planet, the third dimension, which is a launch pad to all the other dimensions below and above. The third dimension, all the mathematics shows, is the primal sea of where all this happens. And the Earth's like an egg, and we've got all this potentiality. And God will send out a transmission for a larger plan, but evil's willing to come in. And what does it say? Demoralize, get rid of children, don't have kids. Humans are bad. We'll be better once you're all gone. And it's because it's their operational mission for whatever reason that we'll understand later what's going on. So the Nazis, if you get into deep literature, they believed they were basically seancing and being possessed by entities that, it was before the Nazis. For whatever reason, it was the Germans that this happened to, and the Swiss.
Here's the mindfuck of all mindfucks. Maybe psychedelics are a gateway to some other reality, some other dimension that's accessible by these creatures.
I like this.
And that when you are getting abducted, you really are getting abducted. Like whatever your being is, or your spirit, or whatever is you, is you're interacting with these things. And it feels real because it is real. And because we're thinking about the ability to come in contact with other life forms as being a physical thing. Here's the
Pops in this. I'm getting out of the car. Stay in the car. It's over the top. But stay in the fucking car.
Most alien creature that exists on planet Earth.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a new documentary out on, I think it's PBS, called Making Contact, that's just about octopus intelligence. There's this guy, he's a fisheries biologist, and he gets an octopus and basically lives with it in his living room. Like, he figures out that this thing likes being petted, like it knows how to, it's the diverse array of things that this thing can process mentally. It's like on par with like what chimpanzees do. You know what I mean? It's like it can open jars, it can close them, it can come out of the aquarium, go back into it. It'll swim over if it knows you. It knows if it doesn't like you. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, really weird, right?
Yeah.
Is that how we got this video? The octopus dreaming? I just looked it up, and it starts with the octopus in the guy's living room.
This is it. This is Making Contact.
This is amazing.
And this video went super viral.
Yeah, well, they apparently, as the octopus is asleep and dreaming, it's changing the outside color and texture of its skin in relation to whatever the fuck is going on in its head.
Right. Right.
That's so wild, man.
Isn't that nuts?
It's just so weird how they can instantaneously change their coloration and their texture, and then perfectly blend in with coral.
Right.
Like when you see them like stop on a coral reef and just become the reef, you're like, what
Instantly,
are you?
too. It's like, zoop, and it's gone.
If we were a threat, they would absolutely kill us. And the fact that they haven't killed us means we're clowns.
I think
we're absolute clowns. Like, my brother's feeling is, and he's smarter than me, and he reads much more alien stuff. I was like, yo, if they're here, why haven't they killed us? He goes, they don't care. He's like, I think they're doing research. And I'm like, all right, if they're doing research, then they're just gonna let us die, and they're just gonna they're probably watching us on screens, just laughing, like, yo, look at these idiots, look at these idiots.
I would imagine we're pretty.
They can't even drink water in Philadelphia, It's like housewives for them. Like, yo, check out Housewives Philadelphia. They don't got water now. You should have seen what happened in East Palestine. Like, the aliens are watching.
So Elon says this. Elon says he hasn't seen anything.
Yeah, I'm super suspicious when he says that. Super
suspicious that they haven't told him, or that he's maybe playing a little hide the ball.
If I was him, I'd play hide the ball. Yeah. If I'm running SpaceX, I'm working with NASA.
and I already got in trouble smoking weed on a Joe Rogan Experience, I would fucking play ball. Let's play ball. Aliens, I've no evidence.
No idea.
They sure are subtle.
Yep.
That's what he says. They sure are subtle.
Fucking time. And if the aliens come right now, it's probably the best time to come. We're going to be the most relaxed about it. People are scared to shake hands.
What are you going to do?
Everyone's terrified.
Are you going to say hi?
Oh, I'm going to say hi for sure. Tell me what's up.
Tell me what's actually
I want to have an alien on the podcast. Can you imagine? 3 foot tall, 40-pound dude with a giant bulbous head and like antenna-like fingers, and he's explaining how they traverse space and time instantaneously.
No.
Can you imagine? They're making sounds, and you interpret those sounds no matter what language you're in all over the world. You instantaneously interpret what they're saying.
Well, it'd be through your brain. You wouldn't be able to hear them.
Yeah, they would do it through a podcast. They'd be able to engineer the sounds they make. They would hit you with some sound that's so complex you would understand exactly what they're saying, even though you don't know the language. And everybody would be like, what in the fuck is going on? Oh my God, there's an alien on the JRE. And that's what it would be. Me talking to some alien.
They better give you some more goddamn money.
I think that's the least of our problems when the aliens come. That shit is going to be wiped off.
Well, that's when we need gold.
Yeah, we're going to be gold miners again, folks. You imagine if that's life in the future? They come down, they go, you got 2 choices. 1, we eat you. 2, you mine gold for us.
Are they eating
stay
humans?
alive. Why not? Why wouldn't they eat us? They'd be like, listen, you guys are just protein. You're assholes.
They probably eat clouds.
Yeah.
Or like energy. They probably just eat energy.
Yeah, maybe they just exist in some sort of
Dude, they're probably not even
system.
Fucking material.
Probably.
They're probably just fucking ethereal. This guy's fucking high.
Yeah, hang on. If we really have been visited since the beginning of time, since history, if all those biblical stories and all the stories from the Bhagavad Gita and all these ancient texts that do talk about vimanas and flying crafts and beings that come down from upon high, maybe that would kind of explain that we're some stupid science experiment. Aliens intervening with the biological evolution of human beings. Look, chimps are still chimps, right? They're still murdering each other. They're still doing the same things they've been doing for thousands and thousands of years, whereas we're living in condominiums, watching cable. You know, it's like whatever has happened to humans, the advancement is so unique. It's so different than any other animal. Alien landed right now in our parking lot, and a little gray man with big black eyes got out. It would be nothing compared to what I've seen on psychedelic. Everyone who's done a high dose of psychedelic drugs has had this experience. So everyone who's listening to you right now who's done DMT or done 5 grams of psilocybin, they know that this is you have some kind of communication with something else. The question is that something else inside your psyche, or is that something else, a chemical doorway inside the mind that opens up? And the belief is that when you die, and this is what the afterlife is, that when you die, your brain produces these chemicals. These chemicals open up this doorway, and this is the portal to the next dimension.
Been like broadcasting radio waves for the last 100, 120 years, and the radio waves don't stop once they leave Earth's atmosphere. They keep going. We now have radio waves of human activity that have radiated out 120 light years.
Is that bad?
Well, depends. Are there hostile aliens within 120 light years? That was the original sin. And then, of course, television, of course, made that problem much worse.
We would have to think of like a hostile, militaristic empire that took over a whole planet and then started exploring the solar system. Not one that evolved hyper-intelligent, beyond ego and war. They've bypassed all that, and now they're into science and exploration.
Well, here's the question, though. Would aliens have a sense of humor? Would they be able to differentiate between truth and fiction, right? And so, for example, suppose they're sitting in their advanced alien base on Gemini 9 or whatever. Maybe they saw movies about alien invasions and they thought we'd been invaded by other aliens.
Right.
Okay, please, the big enchilada. So I need to know. What do you know about aliens, and how are aliens real?
All right, this is really big. So
okay. Yeah, pour another shot of that.
The media.
Let's get this out properly.
All right, let me give you my best, please. Deep research approximation once again.
What do you think is going? But am I wrong to still hold out hope that aliens are real? Because I tell you, as the 2 guilty pleasures that I still cling to is Bigfoot and aliens. Those are two. Bigfoot, not so much. I wish it was real, but I just don't think
Are you
it
ready?
is. Yes. Bigfoot's real?
No.
Come on, Daddy.
No. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to give you the big enchilada. Joe, there are aliens in this room right now.
For real?
Yeah, you're not of this world, bro.
Me?
You're the alien.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
Well, here's what the elite believe. And let me be very clear because the media will take this out of context. I only go with what I can prove.
Oh, thank you.
And people can't even handle that.
The government admitting that there's aliens. Element 115. Bob Lazar's personal testimony. Witnesses who support Bob Lazar's testimony. All of those things pale in comparison to the bone scanner that Bob Lazar had been talking about since day one. He had been talking about a machine that you would put your hand into and it would read the unique density of your bones in order to grant you access to S4. He had been talking about it since 1989, and it was another thing people pointed to that said he was crazy because none of it ever existed until Jeremy Corbyn found the bone scanner. And you see the moment in real time that Bob Lazar's story gets once again vindicated. Check this shit out.
Just admitted or announced it publicly, and there were some photos, and I just was interested, and so
I never thought I'd see one of these again. But I tried to explain this to people so many times, and they either didn't believe me or say, yeah, I'm sure there is. And there it is. There it is.
It's like a biometric thing for the hands, yeah?
The beginnings of, I mean, it wasn't all that advanced back then, but yeah, that's it. I can't believe you found a picture of this. This was the scanner used to get in to S4. That there was pins in, you stuck your hand, a light above, and it supposedly measured the length of the bones in your hand that, is unique in each individual. It's exactly how it was. Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing you came up with these. It's amazing to see this again.
What does it feel like when these little things that you said become public and there's this tiny bit of vindication?
It is. There's little moments of vindication, little pieces here and there that, little I told you so's. But this is a big one. So a lot of people said these didn't exist, and, it was some just fanciful thing I came up with. But
maybe these things are performing different tasks, and that's why
they seem. If you think about what an alien is in terms of the sort of iconic image of an alien, like the Steven Spielberg Close Encounters of the Third Kind alien, they seem like what we'd assume a human being would eventually become.
Right.
And if these things are tiny, human beings are smaller than they've ever been before. They're weaker than they've ever been before, and there seems to be a trend in that direction. And this trend seems to be amplified by our technological progression. There are a lack of need for muscle strength and our lack of need for violence, and we're moving in a society to try to get away from all the things that we think are abhorrent about human beings and the terrible behaviors that we have.
Over the course of 2 years, I would meet with him, have a cup of coffee somewhere. I couldn't take notes, I couldn't record anything, but he told me the story. Eventually, he told me that they had a live alien out there, that I could not go public with this until after he died. 2 or 3 years later, he totally changes his story. So he made up this story, and that what crashed at Roswell was a Nazi technology flown by the Russians, containing little concentration camp victims who'd been experimented on by Dr. Mengele.
Kind of silly. Isn't that kind of like saying, you know how long it would take you to get a horse from Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia?
That's why I say that assumes that these aliens or whatever are maybe 100 years more advanced than us. But open your mind to the possibility that they are 1,000 years more advanced than us. 1,000 years is nothing compared to the age of the universe.
Right.
The universe is about 13 billion plus years.
Oh, why would they be honest about spaceships?
Then it just randomly happens now.
Yeah, it's another nice distraction. It gets people all excited. Yeah, the fucking fake little Mexican UFO baby.
They're doubling down.
No, they're not.
They took it. This is from the MRI yesterday. They said it's one skeleton.
What did they find that at?
Like they're trying. Other American scientists are saying, well, let people test samples of it or something. But
did they have images from the MRI?
I don't know that they showed those actual images, but the doctor that took it, he said right here, they belong to a single skeleton that has not been joined to other pieces.
Interesting. Footage from the team carrying out the tests shows one of the bodies bearing an elongated head, a small upturned nose, and 2 slanted eyes. The subjects look tiny when held up by the doctors examining the watching journalists. Huh.
And then this person says that the doctor has claimed that he talks to the Virgin of Guadalupe, and the extraterrestrials will not talk to her like they talk to him because she just believes it.
If aliens are visiting us, like, how often are they doing it? Like, unique events would probably be what it would be. It'd be like occasionally. It's every 6 months someone sees one somewhere. But they're here all the time. They probably just know how to evade detection. I mean, it just, if something can travel here from another planet, it's going to be able to know when they're being watched and when they're not being watched.
What you would describe as gray aliens were in front of my face.
Folks to get ready for it. I don't know if there was ever a policy where they instituted that, but it kind of looks like it. All the UFO and alien movies and TV shows and X-Files this and books and reports and children's cartoons, it almost looks like we've been conditioned to get ready for it.
And I've had 4 sightings myself, quite vivid. The first one was in Martha's Vineyard. It was 4 in the morning. I got up to take a leak on the balcony there, and I looked up in the sky, and about 100,000 feet up, I saw 2 glowing discs flying in echelon formation. And so I look up and I see these things, and they're moving, man. They're going from horizon to horizon. 2 glowing round objects, 100,000 feet, maybe 20,000 miles an hour they're doing, because they went across the sky like just in a zigzag formation. So if I screamed to my wife, my friends, they got up, the 3 of us saw it, and I said, you know, and they all knew it was something unusual.
Listen, if you had a unique experience, if you were out in the desert and you're driving to Nevada, and all of a sudden your engine lights went off, Close Encounters of the Third Kind style, and you got out and there was a fucking disc, and it hovered over you for a second, and then it took off at an insane rate of speed, and you're just left there alone with this memory.
Yeah.
I sympathize with those people, because in the vast universe that we exist in, it's entirely possible that something like that has the power to get here. It's entirely possible. Believe Bob Lazar. When I talk to that guy, I like what you say. I believe he believes what he's saying. Listen, if you had a unique experience, if you were out in the desert and you're driving to Nevada, and all of a sudden your engine lights. The propulsion system that he described in 1989 is exactly the same propulsion system that they witnessed this TikTok UFO using in 2007 or whatever it was, that David Fravor had seen this thing off the coast of San Diego. So what those people that saw these crafts that were monitoring them in the military, they were saying they see these like every few months. They see these things, and they don't know what they are. They don't know what to do. They scramble jets to go watch them. They actively block their tracking systems, and then they disappear faster than you can look at it. Just take off. They have no idea what they are. They don't know where they're from. from. They don't know what they're doing. When did you realize, like at what point in time did you say, hey, this is not normal work? Like, this doesn't even seem like it's from this planet.
That, I can't tell you what day that occurred on because so much time has gone by, the days have kind of fused into one, and I can't separate the days.
Was it a slow burn, or was there a moment of recognition?
Well, the first inkling I had was when I came in. There's this facility that is at S4. It's in the side of a mountain. And normally we had pulled in with the bus and gone around the front through a normal double door. This time that I went in, there were hangar doors open. I went in through the hangar door, and in the hangar door was the disc, the flying saucer that I worked on. I saw it sitting there, and we walked by it. It had a little American flag stuck on the side, and I thought, oh my God.
Why is the government telling us about UFOs?
Like a distraction, you mean?
But what is it? Like, what are they telling us because they really have this information and they want to slowly leak it out because this is an inevitable contact moment and they want to prepare civilization? Or is it just horseshit? Is it just they're distracting us and this is how they, institute this drone program where they have this, anti-gravity device and they can move at insane rates of speed? I don't know. I mean, it's just guesswork. What Bob Lazar thinks that spaceship that he worked on was made with. He thinks it was somehow 3D printed because it has no seams. You paying attention to this UFO shit? No? Good for you.
No, but I know you do, so I'm gonna ask because it's like this shit just, there's so much shit that's just coming out now. I don't understand what's the motive behind it just randomly coming out now.
Yeah, I'm super suspicious.
So what's the place? Area
51?
Area 51.
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming that shit has been real.
That's real. Yeah. But Area 51 was used for all sorts of training purposes. They had all sorts of programs that were running out there. I think that's where they developed the B-52. Is that where they developed it, in Area 51? They developed a bunch of different military technologies out there.
So nothing was true about the...
We don't know. We don't know. It's all just guessing about whether or not they were working on UFOs. But they were definitely working on other stuff, too. It's a legitimate military base.
So you think these videos real? That's coming out? Or you think it's...
I think the videos are real. This guy, Commander David Fravor, who was off the coast of San Diego in 2004, they had this tracking system that tracks things above Earth's atmosphere, and they found this thing went from above 60,000 feet above sea level to 50 feet above sea level in less than a second. They have no idea how it's doing this. They followed this thing, they locked onto it, it blocked their radar, it blocked their tracking systems from it, and then it jetted off at an impossible rate of speed. And then the Nimitz relocated this thing at their cat point. The cat point is where the fighter pilots, when they're doing this test, they were supposed to meet at this very specific point. And that's where this thing had gone. Like, this thing had read their plans and knew where they were going. You know I'm a UFO nut, but I don't feel like it's real. All the disclosure stuff, all the biological entities, the recovered vehicles, there's something about it that just seems like bullshit. If I wanted to put out a fake narrative to obscure something that we're working on, that's how I would do it. I would get some information to a guy and encourage him to leak it. Put all this weirdness out there where it kind of confuses the narrative, like what is real and what's not real. That movie Alien with Sigourney Weaver, probably my favorite science fiction movie of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'd say if I had to pick one science fiction horror movie that was like the one, I would say that Alien. It's kind of cornball when you watch the special effects now, though.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh.
Not as scary.
Yeah, there's some space stuff that you're like, oh, okay, this is 1978.
Yeah.
You forget. Oh, that's Alien 2.
And look at that.
That's 2.
Is that a raccoon?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's
a kid?
That's a little kid hanging onto her, bro.
Oh, my bad.
That was Alien. Alien 2 is not my favorite because it's like, wait a minute, why is it so easy to kill them all of a sudden? So easy to kill them because there's so many of them? Like Alien 1, that fucking thing was like, it was thinking.
Yeah.
It was ahead of you every step of the way. Alien 2, they just became like clumsy and bumbling and you just shoot them and then there's another one around the corner. Shoot that one too. It's like, see, this one is like way deep into the future. Like the first one was in the 70s.
They want everything to be ancient aliens, and I've been accused of how could I not accept this or that, you know.
Me too.
Because,
people get mad about those
yeah,
theories.
they get really mad at me, and
they're
they
the nastiest.
Yeah, they're nastiest, and they'll even tell me, "Well, this supports everything you've been saying." I don't care if it supports everything I've been saying. If it's not real, it's not real.
It is fascinating that they do dig up these ancient structures and the Machu Picchu and all these different places where, like, wow, these construction methods are really pretty impressive, but they always want to tie it to aliens.
They always want to tie it to aliens.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's a business.
It's a business. Well, that's what it gets down to.
Yes.
A lot of this is business. People want to sell their books. They want to sell their conferences. They want to sell their DVDs. They want to sell their YouTube videos. In some cases, they want to sell for money. In some cases, they want to sell for promotion, self-promotion. They want to be famous. I think it does fill a void for some people. And one thing I'm trying to do is to fill that void with something real. Because there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of mysteries. And I will admit, I've been on the Ancient Aliens show, but I've never proposed ancient aliens. I've never supported that. I've always been clear if people actually listen to me, but they asked me to be on it.
They use you out of context? A little bit?
Well, yeah, the context is not necessarily...
Slippery.
Yeah, slippery. But the point is that there are real mysteries you and I have been discussing about, and there's so many more we could discuss, but those are real. They watch it because they find it entertaining, number one. They don't quite say it this way, but I think it fills a void, and it does raise issues that if they're perceptive, then they might become aware of and realize that these are real issues. No ancient aliens or some other easy answer is not the way to go, but they are real things that need to be looked into. But I know many people, they'll have PhDs and stuff, and they'll go to it for sort of between entertainment, but also to get exposed to things they're not going to be exposed to by the standard academic community.
These craft could do things that the Russians could not. One of the incidents was an ICBM base in the Ukraine. Colonel Sokolov says that a giant UFO appeared over this base. These are missiles that are trained to go to New York and Los Angeles. They're very serious stuff there. It's a very secure facility. Giant UFO appears over this base. It splits into pieces, and then it melds back apart, and it performs this dazzling display for a couple of hours. The base is on high alert, and all of a sudden the nuclear control facilities lights up like a Christmas tree, and whatever this thing was, it entered the launch control codes. The missiles were enabled, they start firing up, they're ready to go, and then poof, UFO goes away, the whole thing shuts down, it goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov sent his team, he and his team sent there to investigate it. They took the machines apart, could not figure out what it had done, and he told me on camera, we think that they were sending us a message that these are your most powerful weapons, but we're not impressed. Same kind of thing happened here.